is what next for the Blues. Back to the scene of the disaster they'll head tomorrow night. The MCG on a Thursday night against a better credentialled opponents. But there is amends to be made.
I've got to be honest, I'm genuinely stunned.
I've never seen a team panic and as flustered as Carlton were from that way. It was one of the worst performances I've seen from a team that's got enough experience out there.
They got some soul searching to do, the Blues.
This loss could haunt them.
They looked like they were fearful in the end.
What you can do is make this bigger than what actually really is. But also finding that balance, it also can't be ignored. So we let ourselves down on the night. So it's almost like it doesn't matter what I say here today, it's what we do next. How do we turn up tomorrow night? How do we bring the pressure we need to be able to give ourselves the chance to be able to perform well? And then how do we, against a really good opposition, play us more often and take our moments when we get them?
Sack the coach, sack everyone, we're done.
A VFL side, we lost here. Voss has got to go. This is a serious waste of talent.
But I'll just reinforce that really, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I say here today. It's going to be about how we turn up tomorrow and we get it done.
When the message, I suspect, behind closed doors very much echoes publicly. Thursday night footy right here on Fox. You'll see Carlton and Hawthorn, Sarah Jones to lead the team. Now, on a team's perspective, you sort of wondered what would Carlton do? Well, it's a bit of go and fix your own mess.
Yep.
Charlie Curnow comes back, so he'd had the untimely knee surgery in the pre-season late, and Francis Evans loses his place. While for the Hawks, there are two changes. Sam Frost, after a couple of weeks as the sub, has been omitted. Jack Scrimshaw is both injured and suspended. Giath, who's had the hip injury, is ready to go, and Jack Gunston gets his first look at the season.
Yeah, so the Charlie Curnow's a massive in, of course, so that automatically makes them better. I loved what Michael Voss said then, and I suspect that there's all sorts of ways you can go about this, and we've all been there as players. We've all had that horrible performance where you go, okay, is that us or give me a chance to go and redeem myself, which is why Thursday comes around beautifully for them. But then he's fighting this battle where he goes, let's not make it bigger than it is. So for everyone else, for the Carlton fans, it's enormous. You know, we all looked at it and said how pathetic the performance was. But for him, he's looking at a 24-week season. So it's big. Make no mistake, it is big, and we want a response. But let's not go way over the top. So I would imagine, from a coaching point of view, it's a real challenge. The really simplistic thing is for these players, they want to get out and get hit a body, get hit. And 8 players laid 1 tackle or less in that game against Richmond. 8. So 3 didn't lay a tackle at all, Haynes, Wiedering and Kemp, and then there was 5 and Singh. So that's a simple one. That's the easiest one for you. When you get into a contest early and you haven't got the ball in your hand, lay the tackle. But, they're coming up against a side who are in good nick. Not too many problems for Hawthorn. The clearance thing they're going to try and map out. That was the one area they got cleaned up a bit on. But I think we'll learn a lot.
Late last season, on a Sunday, Hawthorn made a mess of Carlton. It was probably their worst performance of the year. It was a 74-point result. I just think, so the question that sits over Carlton, separate to it's only round 1, is they are just starting to be viewed with a degree of suspicion. And your question is that us? Well, they've now won 2 of 10 if you take a longer range of it. So those internal doubts, as Michael Voss spoke of, the errors got hold of us. The small mistakes ended up weighing us down. So can they shake that off and restore some of the footy that had them sitting in the top 2? Or are they, in fact, this team, which is now revealing itself, which would be a bit shuddering if that was the case?
It would be. And then they'd have real cause for concern. And their last 2 performances have been, apathetic, to be honest. 4 times last year they lost back-to-back games. I think that's another message in amongst this, is that, and one of them was a longer run of outs and when they lost consecutive games, but 4 times it was back-to-back. Now, Hawthorn lost their first 5 last year, and then only, I don't think, lost a back-to-back game again. So I think that's really important in terms of this, not letting a season get away from you. But, when you look at it in the light that you just did, this is what I was talking about earlier. This is how Michael Voss is saying, let's not make it bigger than what it is. Well, we can. we can make it really big on the basis of what you've just told us, on the basis of their last two performances, whereas he's trying to get them to go, hey, let's play what's in front of us. And what's in front of us is Hawthorn when the ball bounces on Thursday night.
So restore some faith, both for themselves and for the outside.
Yeah, and when you... Well, as I said earlier, every single player has had these games where you've just lost the unlosable and it's embarrassing. It was embarrassing. But the week just drags and drags and drags until you can get out and rectify it. And the beauty of that is that every single player, bar one, on the selection front, gets a chance to go out there and make right what was wrong. And that's a great thing about footy. You do or you don't.
Yes.
We'll be back next Monday night talking about whether they have or they haven't.
Do you believe in them?
Yeah, yep, no, I do. I don't think you can have a spine that this football club's got and just get pushed aside again. So I also believe in Hawthorn. So,
so it's a high bar, isn't it?
It is a high bar. But sometimes you want that. You don't want to be going into another game against perhaps someone who's not quite there. So they know it. They'll know exactly where they're at.
Yeah, so and from that perspective, it's not just about the winning and the losing.
No.
It's play with credibility, play with substance, play with something that is dependable, repeatable, and will get you results throughout the year. Whatever it is that they've been working on throughout their pre-season to improve, and they have ambitions to finish in the top four, knowing that they blew that late last year. Let us see that. And if it's against a fellow top four contender, then so be it. We should get a rip-roaring game.
No, I suspect that's what he's talking about when he says let's not make it bigger than what it is. The win would be fantastic, but there's a whole lot of other stuff that goes into this which they'll be able to either tick off or, go furrow the brows and say we've got a hell of a lot more work to do. But it'll be a beauty. And there's some weather, so you have to get your hands dirty.
Yeah. But if it becomes base, then show us your attitude.
Exactly.